Growing up in Britain came with a soundtrack. Not just TV jingles and playground chants, but the phrases parents repeated every single day. Some were funny, some were firm, and most of them stuck for life. Let's count down 15 of the most classic, starting with number 15. Shut the door. Were you born in a barn? One of the most British parenting lines of all. The moment you left the door wide open, this phrase came sharp and fast. It wasn't about barns. Most kids in Britain had never even seen one. It was about wasting heat, wasting money, and lacking manners. In homes with coal fires or storage heaters, warmth was precious. A draft through the room wasn't just uncomfortable, it felt like burning cash. Parents didn't always shout it. Sometimes it came with humor, other times with that unmistakable look. And here's the twist. The kids who rolled their eyes in the 60s and 70s, they're the ones saying it now. The phrase survived because the feeling survived. Don't waste what you've got. Number 14. Money doesn't grow on trees. Every British child has heard this at least once. Ask for a toy, a chocolate bar, or just a few coins for the shop, and this came back instantly. It was never just a refusal, it was a lesson. In the 60s and 70s, wages didn't stretch far. Bills kept coming, extras were luxuries, and families lived on tight budgets. This phrase taught children that money had value because it was earned, not picked like apples from the garden. It became a mantra. Decades later, many of us still hear it in our heads every time we glance at a bill or a receipt. A simple saying, but it shaped how generations thought about saving, working, and spending. Number 13. Eat your crusts. They will make your hair curly. A harmless little myth with a serious message. Don't waste food. Bread cost money, and nothing in a thrifty household went to waste. Crusts weren't glamorous, but parents wrapped them in a promise of curls and magic. Did kids believe it? Maybe not entirely, but enough of us checked the mirror the next morning, just in case. It wasn't about hairstyles, of course. It was about teaching respect for food, gratitude for every slice, and the importance of finishing what was on your plate. Even today, when someone leaves crusts behind, you can almost hear the echo of this phrase across the kitchen table. Number 12. If you keep pulling that face, the wind will change and it'll stay like that. The classic blend of humor and discipline. Make too many silly faces, and suddenly the risk was permanent. Was it true? Probably not. But as a child, you couldn't be sure. That tiny doubt was enough to make you stop instantly. Parents didn't need long speeches or punishments. One line did the trick. It was discipline disguised as a joke, and it worked brilliantly. Decades later, we still smile when we remember freezing mid-pull, terrified that a gust of wind might freeze our faces forever. Number 11. You'll catch your death of cold. Few warnings were delivered with such drama. Wet hair, damp socks, an unbuttoned coat. Cue the phrase. It sounded extreme, but it carried history. Central heating wasn't what it is today. Antibiotics weren't handed out for every sniffle. And many parents remembered when a simple cold could turn into something worse. The phrase wasn't really about chills. It was about care, love, and worry. Spoken sharply at the doorway or whispered while wrapping you in scarves, it was the voice of parents doing everything they could to keep you safe. Number 10. A little bird told me. One of the most unsettling phrases for a child. How did parents always know? You'd sneak sweets, fib about homework, or whisper secrets with friends, and somehow they found out. A little bird told me it made the world feel full of spies. Was it the neighbor, the teacher, or just a parent reading guilt on your face? You never knew, and that was the point. It created a sense of mystery and accountability. Children grew up believing they could never get away with much, because somehow, mum or dad always knew. Number 9. There's no use crying over spilled milk. Spill your tea, break a biscuit, stain your school jumper. And this phrase arrived calmly. It wasn't cruel, it was practical wisdom. Accidents happen, wipe it up, move on. Dwelling on what you couldn't fix didn't help. This phrase taught resilience in everyday life. As children, it was frustrating. As adults, we find ourselves saying it quietly in moments of stress. It's a line that grew into philosophy. Some things aren't worth tears, and moving forward is the best fix of all. Number 8. You make a better door than a window. The moment you blocked the telly, this line hit. British humor at its finest. Absurd, sharp, and effective. It didn't scold, it didn't shout, but it worked. You'd shuffle aside, rolling your eyes, but also laughing. Underneath the joke was a bigger lesson. Be aware of others, respect shared space. Decades later, even without the smoky living rooms and the boxy TVs, the phrase still gets a smile. Number 7. That'll put hairs on your chest. Usually delivered with a grin as you swallowed something awful. Strong tea, bitter medicine, overcooked cabbage. It wasn't meant literally, of course. It was British exaggeration, turning discomfort into resilience. Swallow, survive, laugh. It reframed unpleasant tasks as challenges you could conquer. The hidden lesson? Sometimes life hands you things you don't like. You take them anyway and carry on. Number 6. Don't sit too close to the telly, you'll get square eyes. A phrase shouted from kitchens across Britain. Was there any science behind it? Not really. But it made kids shuffle back, protecting the TV from sticky fingers and giving parents their own clear view. It wasn't about eyes, it was about boundaries, balance, and peace in the living room. And to this day, people still joke about square eyes whenever a child spends hours glued to a screen. Number 5. If everyone jumped off a cliff, would you do it too? The ultimate reply to peer pressure. When everyone else is doing it wasn't enough, this phrase cut it down. It was short, sharp logic that left no comeback. The lesson was timeless. Think for yourself. Peer pressure didn't stand a chance against a parent armed with this line. Number 4. I'm not made of money. A close cousin of money doesn't grow on trees, but sharper. It wasn't theory, it was identity. Parents reminded kids that every request had a cost, and that love didn't mean endless spending. It wasn't just about saying no, it was about teaching that resources are limited. And often, it came with a smile, hinting that parents would give more if they could. Number 3. Don't put your coat on inside. You won't feel the benefit outside. Peak British logic. Wait until the last moment, then wrap up, sealing the warmth for the walk ahead. Was it scientific? Maybe, but it became ritual. The rhythm of leaving the house wasn't complete until this line was spoken. The phrase wasn't really about coats, it was about doing things properly in the right order with care. Number 2. Wait until your father gets home. Few phrases inspired such immediate silence. It didn't need volume. It carried weight, tension, and imagination. Whatever home meant, kids knew there would be consequences. Sometimes mild, sometimes serious, but always effective. It was discipline by anticipation, and it worked. Number 1. What's meant for you won't pass you by. Among all the warnings and jokes, this phrase was different. Gentle, hopeful, and deeply comforting. Parents said it when you were disappointed, when plans fell apart, when you felt left behind. It wasn't about barns or bread crusts, it was about patience, trust, and resilience. A reminder that life has its own way of working out, and decades later, it still offers comfort, passed from one generation to the next. These are the phrases that shaped childhoods across Britain. Some made us laugh, some made us roll our eyes, and some stayed with us forever. Which one did you hear the most? And which ones do you still catch yourself saying? Share your favorite in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more nostalgic British sayings and the stories behind them.